Hey everybody, this is Chapter 3, Section 3, Cycles of Matter. Just like the last couple of videos, we're going to break this section down into two parts. Through this section, there are some new vocabulary terms for you and two key concepts that you'll need to be able to answer. Now let's look at the notes. In the biosphere, energy and matter move very differently. We talked in the last section about how energy flows in one direction. Matter, however, is recycled within an ecosystem and between different ecosystems. Elements, chemical compounds, and other forms of matter are passed from one organism to another organism, and from one part of the biosphere to another part of the biosphere through things called biogeochemical cycles. Biogeochemical is a big word, but if you break it down to the pieces, you have bio, living, geo, the environment, and chemical, the things like glucose, water. All right, biogeochemical cycles. Matter can cycle because biological systems don't use up matter. They only transform it. In 6th grade and 7th grade, you talked about the law of conservation of matter. Matter can't be created, it can't be destroyed, it can only be changed. In living things, matter is assembled into living tissue, or it's passed out of the body as a waste product. All living things require water to survive. That's why we're going to start with the water cycle, something you should be very familiar with. Water moves between the ocean, the atmosphere, and the land. Water molecules enter the atmosphere as water vapor, a gas. They are evaporated from oceans or other bodies of water. The process by which water changes from a liquid to a gas is called evaporation. Water also enters the atmosphere when it evaporates out of the leaves of plants through a process called transpiration. The water cycle is something you're pretty familiar with already. Once water vapor is up in the atmosphere, it condenses as it cools off into droplets that form clouds. It then returns to the surface of the earth through precipitation. From precipitation, it enters streams, it seeps into the soil, runoff, infiltration, where it enters plants through the plant's roots, and you have the water cycle, something you've studied lots before. The second cycle we're going to study in this first video is the carbon cycle. The carbon cycle is important because carbon is a key ingredient to living tissue. Biological processes like photosynthesis, respiration, and decomposition take in and give off carbon and oxygen. Geochemical processes like the erosion of rock and volcanic activity release carbon dioxide to the atmosphere and to the oceans. Biogeochemical processes like the burial and decomposition of dead organisms, and their conversion under pressure into coal or petroleum, which we call fossil fuels, stores carbon underground. Human activities like mining, cutting down and burning forests, or burning fossil fuels takes that carbon and releases it as carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. Now, the water cycle and the carbon cycle are just the first two biogeochemical cycles we'll study. You'll probably note as we go through these list of terms that there are a couple of other ones you need to understand, but for now we'll call that good for this first video. We'll pick the other two up in the next one.